Hello, good evening. How you doing, mate?
Great. Just setting up the lighting.
That's all good. I decided to do a bit of cosplay because I assume you'd be doing something vaguely.
Well, then I must go all out and put on the
It's up
big
to you, and if you want, no pressure either way.
son of a bitch.
You just attacked your chandelier.
Yeah.
All good. Oh, we've got some people in the chat. Hello, kids. Hi, how you doing?
Hello, chat. Oh, God.
It's all
The
right.
bane of my existence.
Take your time setting, mate. Like I said, we've only got one person here at the moment, but that's all good. Lovely to see you, my friend. Yes, not bad at all, thank you. I have been working on a script for when I'm out of the country, and I've based on my next video. I've been going on about this for a little while, but my next folkloric deep dive video is on fairies, and I'm collaborating with a folklorist down in Cornwall. So, yes, basically we'll be interviewing her about it and whatnot. So, feeling pretty good about that, to be honest. It's all that kind of
That's
thing.
a lot more interesting than what I'm working on.
Oh, don't worry, Demon Lord. I'll give you a few moments to get yourself prepared.
Okay,
Take your time, mate. Don't worry at all.
this is fine. Oh, God.
Kids. So yeah, we're both from the UK. I'm assuming. I'm pretty sure Demon Lords is.
Yep.
But I'm from the north of England, but I'm currently down in Cornwall, which is a very rural part of the UK, but it's absolutely lovely. But yes, here we are. We have Demon Lords at attention.
Yes, I am a Londoner and a very, very weird one.
Well, that's the kind of type we like around here, my friend. Yeah, I've fully embraced the nerddom culture. Yeah, even more so since I've been posting things on like YouTube and TikTok. Because why do something by half when you can just go all in? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Like, ever since I started, like, uploading online, I've been thinking, how can I top my last cosplays? And it's just been, like, what's the craziest thing I can do? And currently, the cosplay I'm working on, it's nearly ready. I just need to get someone to make me a comically large scalpel.
Fantastic. I'm genuinely intrigued by that. Are you keeping it under wraps until it's all ready to go? Or do you want to give us a clue?
It's from a popular fighting game.
Yeah.
But the only thing the rest of the costume is surprisingly cheap to put together. It's just the scalpel that's expensive.
Yeah, I bet. Yeah, there you go. Maybe get something from Etsy or something like that. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, hello kids. Yeah, so I am. Yeah, like I said, I'm writing my next folkloric deep dive video is about the history and folklore of fairies. So yeah, quite interested to see that, and also, like I said, it's kind of adding to the production value of things because I am having an actual interview with a folklorist. So I'll be intrigued to hear what you think about this, Demon Lords. But I definitely want to collaborate more with other creators and stuff like that. So that's why we're doing this tonight. But at the same time, it can feel a bit daunting because there's nothing that takes the wind out of your sails than being left on red. So
Yeah.
it's
For me, I think the most awkward thing is feeling like I'm too small to kind of approach people. Because, like, with you, I was literally just like a spur of the moment feel. Like, I was looking on YouTube and it was like creators who are around a similar size to me that people who are watching me were watching, and I was like,
yeah,
let's check this guy out, see what he's up to.
Oh, thank you. Well, same, and that's the thing is as well. You know, I think I've been doing that recently as well with the YouTube Creator app, seeing a few people. But yeah, you're the only people that we've kind of definitely had a bit of a chat with, and also, like you said, similar size audiences, but also I think more importantly, you know, can got a bit of rapport going on. What the fuck is going on? Exactly, yes.
Although I will say sometimes I do question, like, how the hell do, like, my audiences line up with yours sometimes? Because I look at my videos and I'm like, the people who watch my videos are crazy, right?
Yeah, oh sure.
I don't think anyone's normal when they watch a video that halfway through it just has someone screaming at the top of their lungs, sex!
Well, it's a good way to keep audience retention, I suppose. Keep them on track.
Yeah, it also just makes me look like a filthy degenerate. I mean,
Yeah.
I am, but...
Well, there we go. Hilarious.
Make the internet knowing.
So yeah, no. Well, I think that the things that I think our audience does have in common is cosplay. That's why us to address like this.
Yeah.
Different spheres of cosplay, maybe, but because cosplay nonetheless, and also D&D, which is primarily probably what we end up going to chat about sooner or later.
Yeah.
That's cool with you.
Oh yeah, I'm happy to. I was actually thinking of some topics, and one of the things I was speaking to my group's DM about was how we get inspiration for our campaigns. And so we both do occasionally like rip stuff off from other things.
Yeah.
And I think that's fair. Like if you're into fantasy, you take inspiration from everything.
I completely agree.
Because of how big of a nerds we all are, there's a bunch of things that we know a lot about that the others in our group don't know about. That we can just pull on like this niche bit of lore. And we were talking about like obscure things we've taken names from. Like my DM's a big fan of a game series called Tales of. And he was telling me, oh yeah, I got the name for my last campaign from just an interview about one of the Tales of games. I'm like, you goddamn nerd.
Fantastic. No, I completely agree. Yeah. It's you get inspiration from the most random of things, and I think even if you try and I say steal, but you know what I mean, be overtly inspired by something. Even when you attempt to replicate that, you replicate that in your own way, so it's no longer stealing. Unless you're doing it in a very very uninspired kind of way. I am all for doing that kind of stuff because odds are is that you will steal the things you enjoy about it and forget about the things that aren't important to you about whatever kind of media it is, and then before you know it, it's something completely different. It's it's like the difference between like Dune and Star Wars. Technically, they're the same thing, but they're just done in completely different ways. So they are so, for want of a better word, alien from each other. If you get what I'm saying. Lovely. Yeah, so many people in the chat. Thank you so much, everybody, for the comments. Really appreciate that. If you are enjoying the live, do make sure to give it a like, just so this goes out to more people. Really, really appreciate that. Do we have any questions? Just saying hi to Game Lords and a few other random things going on. Yes. But yeah, talking about D&D, what campaigns are you playing? Do you run campaigns at all?
So at the moment I'm taking a bit of a break. My group's migrated a bit over to Pathfinder, and I'm not the biggest fan of that system. But currently we're playing in the Marvel superhero system that got released recently.
Interesting.
Yeah, that's kind of fun with the party we've got. My DM from my main group, he's playing a speedster called Mercurius, who's like related to Mercury.
Nice.
We've got a Hulk-like character called Ooze Master, which I love that name.
Yeah.
We have a dimensional shifter called Guildmaster, and then my character is just a guy from the future who just used his knowledge of the future to get rich and has the dumbest name ever, Midas, because everything he touches is gold.
It's just gold. Brilliant. That's inspired. So you're saying that's in the Marvel superheroes mechanics. So that's how does that compare to D&D? How has it been using a new mechanic system? You found that difficult?
It's definitely a lot more open than D&D, because instead of like having a rigid class system, you instead have like a certain amount of points you could allocate to powers depending on your rank.
Yeah.
And then instead of rolling D20s, you roll 3d6. And it's kind of weird to explain how the 3d6 system works. But basically, if you roll a 1 on the middle dice, it's basically like the equivalent of a crit.
Yeah, okay.
And it's really fun to just have like this system where you can kind of go all over the place with your powers.
Yeah.
And I've played other superhero systems before, and it can get a bit overwhelming with the choices, because it's like, oh, you can pick this power, but you've got to spend this much to do this much, and it's just a lot simpler where you're not just juggling around like 50 different D6s constantly.
Yeah. Interesting. Because that's the thing. The one thing I don't want to do in terms of like trying out Pathfinder or anything else like that is because I don't want to have to convince 3 or 4, however many people I want to play a campaign with, to learn a whole new system. So I just do D&D, or like there was a while back I was thinking about doing a Star Wars campaign, and rather than I'm pretty sure there's a Star Wars RPG anyway. But
Yeah,
like rather than do that, I was literally like, right, how do we make D&D work for this? And probably spent as much time as in trying to make D&D work for Star Wars that it would have taken to just make our learn the Star Wars RPG.
to be fair, if you know what you're looking for, you can usually find like D&D conversions pretty easily. My group's done a D&D Star Wars conversion in the past.
Yeah.
Again, I don't really like it when the system kind of janks up a bit, but like some people prefer it. Like but I always found it just kind of like unnecessarily complicated.
Yes, no, you're completely right. And hi, Jasmine. I have noticed. How's it going? Yeah, pretty good, thank you. Psyched to be doing. This is the first like collaborative live I've done, and it's going absolutely swimmingly so far. Very happy. So hi.
How are you, Jasmine?
How are you? But yeah, that sounds absolutely awesome. I'm curious to try some others because, like I said, I was trying to figure out how to make Jedi in D&D, and there was, like you said, there was like a web page I found that had that vague kind of thing, and luckily, obviously, D&D has laser pistols anyway and stuff, so it did kind of work, but at the same time, it's like, if there's an RPG for this, why am I not just learning the new RPG? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think once you take that step to learn another RPG, it kind of just is a lot easier to kind of move between them. But then it's just trying to get the group into it. Like, come on, guys, let's give it a try. What's the worst that can happen?
Yeah, I think some people. I mean, yeah, you make a very valid point. I think it depends so much on what kind of player it is as well, because I have a few friends that they're into like computer science stuff, and so they enjoy the idea of the mechanics aspect of it. Whereas I also have a few other friends that do just want to sit down and hang out with some of the friends around even and play D&D. They don't want to have to figure out a whole new mechanical system just to do that. So I think you're right. It depends completely on the player, really, and how open or how involved they are in it, I suppose. If you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you're playing? Are you playing this superhero game at the moment?
We're doing it Saturdays at the moment, which is fun.
Yeah.
The last session had us introducing Ooze Master because he couldn't reach the first session.
Yeah.
And halfway through, my character had to we killed Deadpool. Like he was gonna regenerate, but we were like, oh shit, we're in like the middle of like a science laboratory. We can't really leave him here because he might steal stuff. What do we do? So my character just sticks his dead body in a sack, flies him across New York City to just dump him in Central Park, and then halfway through he starts coming back to life and he's just like wriggling in a bag like, where am I? And I'm just like, oh shit, what do I do? So I just stop in the middle of the street and the DM just describes it as I'm like beating him against the trash can as like random civilians are watching. And again, I'm in the superhero costume.
Yeah.
And they're just seeing me beating a bloody bag and just like in the middle of the street like, God damn it, stay dead.
That's amazing. It sounds more like The Boys than any Marvel film I've seen.
Well, later that session, we also fought Mysterio, so, it balanced out.
Yeah, nice. Absolutely awesome. Cool. So, playing that campaign, are you playing any campaigns at the moment?
Not at the moment, but my group are thinking of doing another Pathfinder game that I might join.
Yeah. Awesome. Interesting. Yeah, you get to have a go at Pathfinder. Like I said earlier, but we'll see how it goes. Maybe I've convinced some people. We'll see what happens on the Discord. I think that's the idea. Yeah, nice. Yeah, I've unfortunately I was playing I was running Curse of Strahd for a few of my friends, but people are away at the moment, so I haven't played D&D in about a month or so that's pretty annoying, but we'd definitely like to kick something off soon again. I'm getting the, getting the withdrawals, we'll say.
Yeah, I'm sure you're just waiting to be able to run a one-shot on your server.
Yes, we definitely, hopefully we can, I have to organise that most definitely. Let me think. I do really, really, really want to start playing Spelljammer, even if it's just a little one-shot, so maybe I'll percolate that in my brain and we'll see if we can find a time to do that at some point.
Yeah, Spelljammer is probably one of my favorite recent books we got from D&D.
Yeah, no, I agree. It's as like an adventure setting, it's really, really interesting. I think that there are. Well, this is the problem. I think if you are sitting down and playing a D&D, playing a pre-written campaign as it's actually written and expecting to just kind of have fun from that, I think you're missing out on like a really fundamental point of D&D, which is to kind of make it your own. I've had a lot of negative things heard about Spelljammer. I do agree to a point, but the enjoyment is, I suppose, personalizing it to your audience, to the people that you're playing D&D with, and also your like personal enjoyment as a DM as well. If you're playing it just as it's written, I think you're definitely missing out on like some core aspects.
I think how Spelljammer is laid out is one of those campaigns that you can easily like look at the book and then take the setting of it and make your own campaign out of it, because that's what I remember my DM doing. And again, that kind of fizzled out more just due to the fact that at the time my group was kind of experiencing D&D burnout, because it gets to that point at times. You've been playing games like back to back for months to years, and you're just like, look, man, we just need like a month or so to just like not play, to recuperate, and then be like, you know what, I haven't played D&D for a month, I want to play D&D again.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, no, I completely agree. I'm really excited to actually do that campaign at all, to be honest with you, because like you said, it's a spacefaring campaign, so there's so many tropes and so many things you can kind of steal and make your own from it. So from reading the source book, there are some bits that I'd like to do, almost like a there's a chapter of it about beholders, and I was like, how do I make this more original, more interesting? I was like, well, maybe it could be like a really obese beholder, so like a Jabba the Hutt beholder. I was like, that's brilliant, because I'm doing the I'm hitting the Star Wars, Star Trek kind of vibes for it, if you know what I mean. And like you said, making it your own, which is what it's all about, really, at the end of the day. Seeing what you can improve upon.
Well, with Beholders, one of my favorite things is just looking at the lore and seeing how insane they are and trying to make like the quirkiest personality. Like, one of my favorite things, I think this was from a series on YouTube called If the Emperor Had a Text-to-Speech Device, but I just love calling spaceships space boats. It makes sense. It's basically the exact same word, but it's just so dumb to have a character be like, after them, get the space boat! No, or just scream, my favorite space boat!
Like,
the second you realize that's an actual, like, same word as spaceship, it just becomes so much funnier.
No. I do completely agree. That's absolutely awesome. But we will most definitely get a Spelljammer thing set up sooner or later. I'd really like to do that.
What the hell is Blood yapping about? We're yapping about D&D and space boats.
Yes, indeed. It's my overseas dog. But awesome. Guys, if you're enjoying the live, please do make sure to give it a like. That'd be awesome, just so it goes out to more people. That'd be absolutely dope.
Wait, Shard, who do you mean your OCs look alike? Me or him? Because I don't think anything can compete with the sheer perfection that lies before you.
Yeah, two very Spaceballs. Kind of.
Space boats.
Yeah. I wonder what. I mean, surely that's just like a smaller version of a space Yeah, maybe like a space boat can only fit one person. I'm not sure. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. I'll get into the specifics of it. But yeah, so we've got that. Definitely want to do that. Playing Curse of Strahd. Really, really enjoy. Have you played Curse of Strahd before?
We tried, but we just didn't really get too into it, and
Yeah.
I think that partially was because I was in that phase of just trying dumb character ideas, like the stupidly high AC build.
Yeah.
But I think it's just because my DM generally doesn't like going with games that are too dark, and I think he just found Curse of Strahd too dark. So
yeah,
we did do Waterdeep Dragon Heist. That was pretty fun.
Awesome.
Played
Yeah,
through that twice.
I get to play that actually, to be honest. But yeah, I mean that's another reason why I want to just kind of start doing more one shots on the server, just so I can play an absolute load of the different campaigns. Because that's the thing is like I've done Icewind Dale and I enjoyed that, but at the same time, that took us like 3 years to play, and a lot of my friends obviously they've got other things going on in their lives, so it's like that was the one D&D game where I was playing every single week, and it got to a point where it's just like, right, we played we played Icewind Dale for like 3 years, and it just kind of like gets a bit boring after a while. So I'd like to almost do like a one shot in every single different D&D adventure, pre-written adventure, just for the sake of trying it out. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I feel like as you kind of grow in the content creator space, you'll eventually like be able to make the time and find people who have this time as well to kind of work with it, where you can commit more to doing longer sessions. Because at the moment I work a part-time job and then I'm also doing my videos and I'm streaming on the side, and it's like, how do I still have a social life?
Yes, exactly. And you've been doing so well with it as well. I was going to say, you've got, I think it's like 2,500 followers, something like that now.
Yeah, I think it's about that now. But funny thing, everyone always asks me, like, do I pre-make my videos in advance or something? And I'm like, I make them the day of.
Yeah.
You do realize how insane my schedule is. I wake up at like 5 o'clock, record a video in about 20 minutes, edit it in 20 minutes, and upload it.
Amazing.
It may sound like, oh, I don't put a lot of effort into it, but trust me, I go insane every morning.
Yeah, that's absolutely brilliant. Good work, though. I mean, I can empathise with that a lot, because all the shorts I do are just using TikTok audios and things like that. I record straight into the TikTok app 90% of the time, well, not 99% of the time. So it literally takes me, I mean, I'll do a few takes of a TikTok just to save them, just so I've got more content. But yeah, like the shorts, you could argue it takes me 6 seconds to do, because that's what it is, but it's been doing pretty well. It's got me so far. So it got me like 3,000 followers or whatever at the moment on TikTok. So quite happy with that, but definitely want to be pushing the YouTube stuff more. So
yeah, you're definitely catching up to me on YouTube.
Oh no, yeah, well, steadily, very, very steadily, but it's awesome nonetheless. And I think
you post a lot more long form content than me. I've been like stuck for about like this whole week trying to record a video that I wrote up with a friend. It's about Yu-Gi-Oh! And I'm getting stuck because I'm coming up to the one bit that we were going to originally record it like separately. Like I was going to record half of it, he was going to record half of it. But now he's just not helping me record it, so I'm just recording it myself. And I got to the bit he's written, and I'm like, oh, this is so clearly not me that I have to try, like, as I'm reading the script, to change it as I'm saying it to be like, this is how I would say it.
Yeah.
Hello, Bread. Is that Bread?
Bread is green.
Bread.
How you doing?
Bread is green.
Yeah, no, I can empathise with that a lot. So you have somebody that helps write your stuff? So I think you mentioned, you've got a writer. Is that right?
More like a friend who kind of like pitches me video ideas and like helps me write my videos.
Awesome.
Which is it's great because it helps me like with my comedy, where I'm like, okay, if I don't think a joke's too funny, if he maybe finds it funny, it might actually just be funny and I'm just doubting myself.
Yeah.
And then he'll give me a joke that like I would never have thought of.
Yeah, definitely. But that's the brilliant thing, isn't it? I think when you're starting out on kind of the content creation stuff, the one thing you underutilize is the collaboration, because luckily I've got a friend that does a lot of who's big into music and like music recording and things like that. So he basically told me how to work with audio basically, and just sitting down with him for half an hour, just showing me what things actually do, was unbelievably helpful just to make my audio sound better. Because I think like that's the thing. It's really obvious when you're doing something when you're recording something visually and it looks shit, like you can because you can see it. But when you're recording audio, you only know until it's too late, and then it's something that I think is with audio. I think it's more difficult to understand if you're getting it better or worse. But yeah, basically having help was
Say my name. I pay fight. I don't know what that's meant to be.
Yeah.
I pay fight. I
think
happy fight.
There you go, completed. But yeah, so yeah, definitely. I think we might. Well, unfortunately, I'm going away for a few months, so I'm still making content, but it would be very difficult for me. Basically, I'll be in Australia for a little while, so I think it'll be very difficult to run D&D games there, considering the time difference. Well, I will still be putting out content, but yeah, basically, when I get back, that's when we'll start doing some like one-shot Wednesday or something like that on the server. So definitely want to get that up and running sooner or later.
To be fair, you could try and convince one of your friends to be like, I'm going away for a bit. Why don't you take over for a bit? Try DMing. Maybe I can be a player for once.
Yeah, no, true. Actually, yeah. I when was it'd literally been years since I played in a D&D game rather than DM'd it. But I enjoy being a forever DM because when I do play in D&D games, I don't vocalize it, but that's that kind of like niggling thing in the back of my mind that just is like, oh, I would have done that differently, or oh, this isn't working. That's another reason why I would say that. Like obviously, amazing recorded D&D games like Critical Role is just enjoyable to watch because everybody is so competent. But I watched a recorded D&D game the other day from somebody, and it was just I was obviously it was a smaller creator, so I wanted to watch it and give them the engagement, give them a like and stuff. But at the same time, I was just like, oh, I wouldn't do it like that. I wouldn't do it like that. Maybe it's just me being awful. I don't know.
I do find like sometimes when I've been GMing, I feel like sometimes as well, like players it can be a bit clunky sometimes when pacing.
Yeah.
And I hate that I'm this player for my group, but I fit this role, and they've kind of accepted this is how I am during the campaigns. I'm the guy who kind of gets the ball rolling in the sense of something crazy will eventually happen, and 9 times out of 10, it will be either related to something I'm doing, or be related to like just something like I've kind of pushed with the other characters. Like when it starts with roleplay, my character's always kind of just like trying to speak to everyone, and it always kind of leads to a situation where it's like I had a character who we had a short character in our party. She wasn't a halfling; she was just short, and he would constantly pick her up, just like, "Okay, time to get moving," and it would just start like a roleplay thing. It was just like, "Oh, Abby doesn't like being picked up," and I'm like, "Well, if you don't like being picked up, why are you so small?"
No, I completely empathise with that. I think the one thing people definitely underestimate is the makeup of the players and like what players are like generally. If they're the people that really love role play, or like I said, like my friends earlier, that really enjoy like the mechanics of it, it's good obviously to get a real good mix of it. I've got a friend that almost plays D&D like a video game, where his main motivator is loot and conquest. He just wants to get through the dungeon and just level up in that kind of way.
Yeah.
But then at the same time, I've got a few friends that really enjoy the role playing aspect of it. So I think it's and then the great thing about that is when you have a mix of those people, it brings out the other kind of the other aspects for them. So I wouldn't, for instance, I wouldn't want a table consisting of people that only want to role play, because sometimes when you get into a combat, it is just rolling dice and picking what spell is the best thing to do at that time. And they could find that boring, but obviously, like, combat is a fundamental aspect of D&D as well. Pretty much, same thing with the other way. It's like having a min-maxed character, or like a really powerful character, because you've looked at the stats and you've designed it specifically just to be a unbelievably powerful character. That's great, but when you're in role play moments, how does that come about? So I think it's having a good mix of everything, really.
I also do find, like, moving to systems that are, like, more heavy combat focused, just you kind of feel like you lack a bit on the role play, unless it's like a system where, like, the role play stats are kind of more just like decided in the moment, or like if you move to a really role play heavy system, sometimes you feel like the combat just is lacking. Like I really want to try out some of the World of Darkness games, but then I've heard, like, in terms of combat, it varies from, like, being pretty good in, like, Hunter and Werewolf to then just being kind of meh in, like, Vampire.
Interesting. Okay.
And, like, I really want to try Vampire the Masquerade. Cause, have you ever seen a series on YouTube called Hunter the Parenting?
I have watched a live playthrough of Vampire the Masquerade. I'm not sure which one it was.
It's an animated series based on Hunter the Reckoning.
Okay.
That kind of made me fall in love with the idea, because I've heard Hunter kind of being described as, like, you're just like some random guy who found out about vampires and now has to just deal with it.
Yeah.
And I just love the idea of, like, playing, like, your local binman, he just had a night out, and then, like, the girl who just tried to kiss him just tried to suck his blood, and now he's just having to deal with, like, vampires 24/7. Like, god damn it, I just want a lager.
Oh my god, have you seen that there's a Key and Peele skit about that kind of thing, where it's this one like, they're in a, it's all very Twilighty, and all the vampires are going around going doing that, and then there's one guy just being like, guys, can we just drink his blood? Like, this, why have we got to do all this weird, and what's with all the bondage gear as well? It's like just wearing like a t-shirt, but he's a vampire.
Yeah, it's like, you're a vampire, just like you're a normal guy, just turn into, like, a bloodsucker. You don't need to, like, go into this whole gunfight.
Yeah.
Or we love what we me and another friend love What We Do in the Shadows. So we were thinking of, like, when we first thought of, like, tossing around the idea of playing Vampire the Masquerade, maybe combining it with Hunter and just having, like, a group of vampire hunters and vampires kind of having to live together.
Yeah.
To, like, kill another threat, and it's just, like, really awkward with, just, like, the interactions with, like, a vampire and just, like, a normal guy just being, or just the arguments that would come out, like, god damn it, who put the blood next to the milk?
Yeah. To be fair, What We Do in the Shadows is like most of the D&D games I've played, in the sense of just absolute chaos and some very, very motivated people, after what they want. Yeah,
I would love to actually. This is one of my dreams, is to, if I could ever be in a game with Matt Berry as a player. I feel like he would be one of the most fun DMs or players.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah, no, it's pretty good. I mean, I'm seeing more and more actors become involved in the D&D scene. There was a really, really good live playthrough from a couple of the Baldur's Gate cast. From Astarion, can't remember the other one now. Can't remember the other character's name. Korlak, I think. But yeah, basically they were doing like a live playthrough using their characters. Yeah, because obviously it's very enjoyable for actors to do that. It tickles in the right way. But yeah, no, it's cool to see it kind of slowly evolving and becoming just more and more. But it's the brilliant thing of it becoming more and more mainstream. Is just you've got that ability for kind of more people to latch onto it, which is pretty good.
Yeah, I remember when I last went to Comic-Con. I think this was partially due to the actors' strike. I'm not entirely sure. It might have been the other time I went, but they actually had the voice cast for Baldur's Gate 3 there, and I was so tempted to meet them.
Awesome.
And, like, I was going to, but then like the price to like just go to like those meet and greets and get
Yeah,
autographs like £70.
yeah,
I'm like, I'd
yeah.
love to.
It's a
I
lot.
want to.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's a lot
And
just
I
to say hi, isn't it?
yeah, but it would have been just great to meet them. And last time I went to a con and met someone like one of my that I like am a big fan of, I remember, oh yeah, this family member's a fan of them as well. Let me just
Yeah.
snap a pic with them, and then I just sent a picture of them, me and them, to my cousin, and she was like, "You bastard!" And I'm like, "Bitch, you should have came."
Yeah, yeah.
Like, don't get mad at me
Yeah,
for meeting this person you really wanted to meet
yeah.
because I was here. That's on you.
Yeah. No, I've yet to go to my first con, so I'll have to see how that goes. But yeah, when I get back from Australia, I have to put that in the calendar somewhere or other because yeah, it would be absolutely brilliant. It's my kind of people, most definitely. And hello, Auntie. I have seen you in the chat. Lovely to see you, my friend. But yeah, no, pretty good. So so yeah, so at the moment only playing the Marvel RPG. But
Yeah.
yeah, so are there any? Well, we're talking about Spelljammer. Are there any other kind of D&D adventures that you are intrigued to try out apart from Spelljammer?
I I've never really had the biggest interest in like just the campaign books. I always
Yeah,
found
yeah,
like home games to always just be more fun.
yeah,
But I've been looking to maybe run my own games for a while. Like I'm a massive fan of the Feywild, and one of my biggest like gripes with it is the fact that like we don't really have any official like quests or too much stuff with the Feywild. Like every time I look
yeah,
through the monster manual, any monster book, it's like
yeah,
4 or 5 Fey, and I'm just like, well, I can't run a campaign with this. I've
yeah,
got to homebrew like half the enemies.
yeah. No, that'd be really, really interesting. And I think that yeah, the Feywild. Well, I've been doing a lot of research, kind of in the more kind of folklore area of that, because in this fairy video I'm working on, um, yeah, obviously they're like, how would you call it? Their home plane of existence is the Feywild, and so yeah, it's it sounds like an awesome place to set a D&D setting. So that would be absolutely awesome to play in that campaign because everything's just so surreal, isn't it? And like hyper overwhelming and like yeah, and odd. So I think that'd be absolutely awesome.
And I always loved like the imagery of like almost any depiction of like fairy realms in
Yeah,
media. Like I recently played through the game Bayonetta and the Lost Demon,
yeah,
and it's set in the forest of Avalon, which is like a forest controlled by fairies, and it's this beautiful looking game, partially just due to the art style. And I love
yeah,
the idea of just this massive forest with like the trees and plant overgrowth kind of just making this beautiful like scene while also kind of just being this terrifying place to be in.
yeah, yeah. It's weird, isn't it? It's that weird juxtaposition of like everything is obviously so natural and beautiful, but at the same time, it's quite it's hostile in the most aesthetic way. You know, it's yeah, it's like a never-ending acid trip kind of thing.
Yeah, it's one of the best parts of the Feywild of the
Yeah,
setting to me.
yeah, no, definitely that'd be interesting. What I'd love to do is have a D&D campaign where you. I'm not sure how I'd do it mechanically. Maybe there'd be like some kind of like um, you could just do it with wild magic, I suppose. Maybe all the characters are like wild magic rings on or something, but where you like every session or every other session, you just fall through some kind of a wormhole or something and end up in like a brand new realm or whatever. So you could be in the Feywild for a couple of episodes, and then all of a sudden, yeah, fall through some kind of portal, and you're in the Nine Hells, and you've got to get through there for a couple of episodes. You know, just really try absolutely everything you could think of.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I could see like a lot of stuff you could do with that. Like, who could the villain be? Is there an actual overarching villain who gave them this ability to kind of just
Yeah,
randomly drop into other planes? And
yeah,
you've got like the perfect excuse for like another player disappearing for a bit. Like they just ended up getting teleported to just like a peaceful place,
yeah,
in this just
yeah. They managed to have a week off. Yeah, no, that'd be absolutely awesome. Cause I've ran a few homebrew campaigns previously, but weirdly enough, when I first started playing, so I did that, but now obviously look back and think what I want to change or what would I be interested in doing. But it's kind of from playing the pre-written adventures that are on like D&D Beyond, I think it's the smartest thing to do a little bit of that, because then you actually see how they're formulated and even how they're written down. So you kind of get an idea about how to actually structure it. And then you can go from there to kind of do your own pre-written stuff. And just get inspired, I suppose, by it. So, for instance, I've written something that I'd like to publish sooner or later. That's how much effort I've put into it. But essentially, it's a Ghosts of Saltmarsh, but better. Because I read through Ghosts of Saltmarsh and I wasn't particularly inspired by it. But so I've made my own homebrew called the Azure Archipelago. And basically, you travel from one island to another. It's on like an island chain. But the elevator pitch, I might have said this to you before, is what if Pirates of the Caribbean was also Jurassic Park? So all these islands have basically dinosaurs on them, and there's like a lost civilization. So it's a bit like inspired by Atlantis or all those kind of tropey action adventure films, like The Mummy as well, that kind of thing. So definitely want to start playing that again. So I did have a bit of a go, but that'd be one of the things I'd really, really want to live stream at some point as well, to be honest.
Yeah, I actually need to look into like setting up all the stuff for live streaming, because one of the things as well, my group were looking into maybe doing a campaign on live stream, but one of the issues is we have a player called Grim.
Yeah.
And Grim infamously never uses a mic. We've known him for since 2019.
Yeah.
Maybe some of the other guys might have known him for longer.
Yeah.
In those it'd be about 5 years now. In those 5 years we've known this man, I have heard him speak twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
And we'd have to think we need to set like a TTS for him or something. And then it'd just be like the weirdest thing for like people who don't know the campaign to just join a stream and just see like everyone's role playing, and then suddenly just a chatbot's like, I think we should go this way.
Yeah. Just having play a Warforged and just use AI, like you say, AI chat or something.
Yeah, the other idea as well would be like if I'm a player instead of DMing that game, would be just ask my DM if I can make my Warlock picture on my like Twitch chat and just be like,
yeah,
yo, chat, just donate like 100 bits, guys. I need to kill something. Or like, guys, I chat wants me to get rid of my firstborn child again.
Yeah, no, I can empathise with that a lot. I think because that's the difficulty, isn't it? Is like I love playing with the people that I play with at the moment, and I want to play with I want to bring more players into the D&D games that I do, but at the same time, not everyone is comfortable with doing a live stream. It is a mechanic from Tech Priest. You are correct. I'm answering the question for you.
I do have a gas mask somewhere, but if I put that on, you would not be able to hear me.
Well, that's
I also have like auto-tune, but I have to do like a really I have to do 1 second. I'll get you next time, Gadget voice, just to like be able to be audible with it. Because otherwise, it just sounds like really auto-tuned, and it pains me to hear my voice that auto-tuned.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, you can't auto-tune it yourself. Voice boxes don't work like that. But yeah, like I was saying, I think it's because I definitely want to run D&D games and just bring more people into the hobby and just play with people that are on the server. I definitely want to do that, but at the same time, if I'm playing a D&D game, if I'm running one that I feel confident in, I would also like to stream it. And so it's finding people that would be up for for streaming, and also I suppose as well it's the consistency, isn't it? Like we'd want most people there most weekends, or like whenever we're playing, you know what I mean?
And the issue as well, especially if you're mainly doing it with like other content creators or just people who are like in the space, because I feel like content creators usually probably would have a bit more free time. It's also like how does this work with everyone else's like content schedules? Because like I have again an awkward schedule, and now that I've started streaming, I've kind of got to block off my like Thursdays and Saturdays for a bit.
Yeah.
Where I've got to be like, okay, I only have like a couple hours a day on Saturday to like go out and do stuff IRL. Then I've got a stream, and then I've got a D&D game like that night, and then I just got
and
Sunday
you do
to
want to
myself.
see sunlight at some point.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. I can agree with that.
That's why like recording this Yu-Gi-Oh video has taken me so long, because it's like I'm doing bursts, and then I'm like, okay, I'm not going to edit the whole thing in one, like each burst. I'm going to try and record all of it, and then finding like clips and just figuring out like where am I going to put in a joke, because like I want to try and keep the similar vibe to what I do in my short form stuff in long form.
Yeah.
But it's kind of awkward seeing as like I'm trying to be serious and telling you something, and then also just like making a joke, where I find that's a lot easier to do in like 30-second bursts.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. That's, I mean, I can really, really empathize with that, because I'm doing the same thing. It's like, is short form and long form stuff, that they are two different beasts, really, annoyingly. And you've got to figure out the pacing and things like that. And also, I'm sure you can empathize with this as well. Short form is just, I mean, I like doing it. I like doing the D&D skits. I like, the stuff I do. And it's just so much easier. I'd rather put loads of that content out, but YouTube doesn't like that. They want me to get 4,000 watch hours, because that's a lot more achievable than the 4 million views in like 3 months. I think it's 10 million. I think it's that.
Like, I'm lucky the fact that like my videos have gotten as popular as they have, but then it's also like, because I'm having to make them like on the day and trying to pick up ideas, I'm either like stockpiling ideas and recording like some videos days ahead.
Yeah.
Then other times it's like I'm just sat there and I have this like impulsive thought with like the Transformers video I did recently.
Yeah.
I was just sat there and I was thinking, I could make a gang warfare joke about this. And so I spent there like thinking, okay, what's all the gang warfare jokes I can make without this sounding offensive? Because like I'm like, if I make a gang warfare joke, I feel like I'm gonna encroach on black stereotypes. And luckily I am black, but I don't show my face. My hands are like all they've got. So I'm like, okay, I don't think I can pass for brown enough to make that joke. So I'm like, okay, how far can I go without it sounding offensive? And I think the best I got was Megatron creasing Optimus Prime's Jordans.
Yeah.
Megatron, don't crease the J's.
Yeah, man.
Starscream, crease the J's.
There is it is random where you get inspiration from, isn't it? And I think that's the difficult thing with doing something. This makes it sound so silly, but like the difficult thing with trying to do creative things like that is sometimes you can sit there, and I've had this when trying to write scripts for stuff. I just sit there staring at the screen and just nothing is coming, or I just feel so uninspired. And then there's some days where I can sit down and just be like absolutely smashing it out. And then there's other times when it's like you do need to do something for a little, like work a little while, and then spend an hour or two away from it and come back to it, I think.
What I find is, at least this is what affects me when I get to recording, is I feel like when I'm reading off a script, I just don't like how I sound. And so what I've ended up doing, and I kind of do hate that this is my process now, is I'll write up the script, and then I'll look at like the section I'm covering, like in like 30 or 40-second bursts, and then I'll try and like abridge it, because I feel like I sound too serious, or I can't make enough jokes, or it's like I feel like I'm gonna mess up a bit too much recording this. Because for example, in the Yu-Gi-Oh video I'm working on, I talk about like the Yu-Gi-Oh manga. And I couldn't say for like in a lot of my takes, the late great Kazuki Takahashi. And like there was another bit after it. So I had to like rewrite the script, and I sadly did cut a lot about like the very early history of the series.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people don't really know that so that the anime, which is based in the manga, right?
Yeah.
And the manga originally never focused on the card game. It was instead, Yu-Gi-Oh! Literally translates to King of Games. It was meant to be like week to week they'd be playing different games. Like there was a thing where they played like a similar thing to D&D.
Yeah.
They played parodies of other games. And the card game only exists because they had it in one chapter of the manga. And kids kept sending in letters to the magazine. And they were like, oh, where can we buy these cards? Where can we buy these cards? And so like the creator saw that and was like, oh, they really like this. So he brought the card game back. And eventually, again, you got more kids asking about it. So they made the card game the focus going forward.
Yeah.
And there's even a precursor to the actual official card game we have now, made by Bandai. And this is the funniest thing about it. You got the cards from vending machines. And do you know what the vending machines were called?
Go on.
Card off machines.
No.
Literally just card ass. I love it. It's such a Japanese thing as well. And it's the weirdest thing I've found, and like it's also really dark as well for a kid series. Like Yugi sets a character on fire at some point. In public. And he's the good guy.
Yeah, I'm just still shocked that is just the card game just came from one episode of the anime. That is absolutely shocking.
Yeah. There's even like it's done by fans Yu-Gi-Oh! Season 0, a series animating like the early parts of the manga.
Yeah.
And it's so weird seeing like how dark it was early on, like with the thing of like the pharaoh who possesses Yugi's body. He was like a punishing spirit, like he would go after evil people. And if they lost games to him, which they usually would, he would do some effed up tortures. Like he made one guy go mad and think like leaves with money. He set one guy on fire. He literally destroyed another person's mind.
Yeah.
He has like committed a lot of crimes and killed a lot of people.
And somehow the hero.
And then the card game, like when they switch to the card game, they lighten it up a bit, but there's still stuff like when a lot of people do talk about this. The anime censored a lot of guns, or there's a lot of characters who just die. Like there's a character who literally gets his eye ripped out. And again, show cuts out so much of this, and you're like, a children's card game came out of this?
Yeah. Sounds like most of my D&D players, to be honest. Absolute chaos goblins and unbelievably sadistic, but somehow end up being the heroes of their story somehow. That's how it be, I suppose. Absolutely inspired. There we go.
In the near future, I would love to like maybe go through the entirety of like the early series and then like maybe do like a comic dub thing of some of like the funnier moments with like some other creators, voice a few different characters, because if this was my dream, I'd love to reach out to the creator of Yu-Gi-Oh! The Abridged series and just get him to voice Yugi in it if I could. I doubt he would.
Is that the goal?
But that's like the few creators that I would love to work with.
Yeah.
Who are like much bigger.
You're absolutely killing it with the follow account at the moment, so I'm sure sooner or later, hopefully you'll get the enough to be able to catch some eyes, I suppose.
I'm just waiting on the first Raid Shadow Legends ad.
Yeah.
You're a big creator when you get an ad for Raid Shadow Legends.
Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Like,
well, that's it. Or G Fuel. Sooner or later, that's coming, man.
If I get my own G Fuel flavor, I'll be happy because I've got the perfect name: bullshit blazing or blazing bullshit. Sour berry. I want more D&D creators to have our own drink flavors. Come on, where's D&D juice? Where's dungeon? I'm trying to think of like a word.
It would be like something from like gelatinous cube juice, wouldn't it, or something like that?
That sounds disgusting.
Yeah, and considering what a gelatinous cube does, I mean, it would definitely have like a kind of a beefy texture, most probably, or undertones in it. It would like a broth. Oh,
that sounds like I feel like that. I'd want to make that a jelly flavor, like gelatinous cube.
Yeah.
Ochre slime.
Just be a stock, wouldn't it? That's what it would be. With like a bit of like tasting a bit irony, considering like all the. Do you know the lore about gelatinous cubes? Have you come across?
Yeah, they like just sit in like a hallway and then just let people walk straight into them, right?
Yeah, that. But I think the whole idea was originally they're basically like magical Roombas. So they go around. The reason why they are like 5 foot wide by 5 foot or whatever is because they can go down the corridor and basically they scoop up all the dirt and whatever. So there would be, like I said, just a magical Roomba that you get stuck in.
Also, one of my favorite like little bits of early D&D trivia is the origin of liches and the name.
Go on, I'm not sure if I know this.
The word lich literally is just an old English word for a corpse. And when they were thinking of like creating like a magical user that's an undead, they were looking for like a word to use. They were just like, oh, there's this old English word for corpse. We'll use this.
You will use that, yeah, interesting.
And that's entirely where it came. And it's like, oh, you'd think it'd be more exciting, but no, it's just like No, we just found this word and we were like, oh yeah, this is fun.
Yeah, that works. Yeah, that'll do. What's it called again? I'm having a mind blank now. The Barrow Whites. I think. Oh no, that's in Lord of the Rings. Oh, what are the? It's really annoying. I can't remember the top of my head. What are the zombies in Skyrim called again?
I
Do you remember?
want to say Daedra. No, it's not Daedra. I haven't actually played Skyrim. My community, I think, have had like a few arguments with me about this, but I made a video before saying I don't like Skyrim, and I got so many comments from people saying like, "Play Morrowind," or
Yeah,
you like Fallout, but you don't like Skyrim. I'm like, yeah, it's just like, I don't know.
it's not going to let me find out. I think. But basically, yeah, they're the name for them is basically just an Old Norse. Draga, that's it. Draga.
Oh yeah,
Yeah. So Draga that's just Old Norse for corpse, basically. The Draga are like, they are like a barrow white. They were just if you were to go into an old burial mound in like Norway, the spirit's called Draga, and that's obviously, and then from that they've just used that in Skyrim to
so it's
be.
always fun learning like the origins of some of the things in media.
It loses its fantasy element.
I like it though, because
Yeah,
it's fun just learning where things came from, and I always just it leads to me being the type of person I am, where
yeah,
part of why I know so much lore about a lot of things is because I get into these rabbit holes where I will like go through researching something on YouTube. Like
yeah,
I'm a fan of Transformers. You can't see them in my room right now, but I have like at least 10 of them
yeah,
scattered around. And so every now and then my interest in the franchise will spike, and I'll like
yeah,
watch a bunch of videos and research it. And the start of like where it came from is so interesting to me because it's like it was just a bunch of different Japanese toy lines
yeah,
that Hasbro were like, okay, we came up with this idea, let's like import these toys, create the brand, and then like
yeah,
have them make the show. And
yeah,
then they actually saw the show in a toy line and were like, oh, let's take this toy line from America that they borrowed from us,
yeah,
import it back over, make our own show, and keep the show going and keep the brand going. And so it's just so weird to look like how some of the stuff had come from it. And
yeah,
it interestingly gave me an idea for an NPC just because I was like trying to challenge myself, like, what's an obscure NPC I can create
yeah.
from something kind of obvious? And so I took the motivation of the character Galvatron, who was like brought back to life by a god,
Okay.
but he hates being enslaved, so his goal was to try and free himself.
Yeah.
Took the name of another character related to him, so I took the name Scourge, and then I
Okay.
was just like, okay, what's the name of the evil god? Cyclonus, another character related to him. Easy villain idea. A dragon who was resurrected by like a dark god
Yeah.
who's forced into their servitude, who's looking for a way to break their contract, and what they need is just the party's MacGuffin.
Yeah. Awesome. Yeah.
Like,
I mean, that's the funny thing is that I think we think we're the first ones to invent something, but like all lore, like all like from doing all this research I've done into like folkloric monsters and stuff like that, all it is just whatever you want to call it, whispers of one thing or another. D&D with two bro. Why does it feel like I'm about to play D&D with two people? I mean, there you go. I'm glad we're giving you that vibe, my friend. To be fair, we do look
where's my
like
damn dice?
about as random as two D&D players do look, or as D&D characters, should I say? But yeah, it's like doing the research into fairies that I've been doing recently. It's like the only reason why we have this idea of them is because we kept coming across, or we kept finding like prehistoric arrowheads, or we found the burial mounds that existed like in like prehistory, and we're like, well, this has got to be something. So people just made lore about it, and it's the exact same thing that happened with Transformers, where it's just like, right, we've got
Yeah.
this thing, but like, how do we keep it going, or like, what does this, and then it evolves from there more and more so. Yeah, but Goofy Goof, yeah, you've. I mean, I'm going to take that as the ultimate compliment because, yes, we do look like two D&D characters. To be quite honest with you,
Yes,
like
I'm the
the
local
randomness
wizard.
of which would ever be.
I deal illegal potions. I have to go door to door every week telling people I'm a registered hex offender. I'm sorry, but I got caught outside of the local gentleman's club. I was casting curses on men, local impotence, a little bit of impotence beams,
Yeah.
so I would be more liked, but they caught me, so I have to tell you, if I see you talking to a pretty woman, I will cast impotence on you.
Yes, absolute heresy. How dare you?
Honestly, one of my favorite things about D&D is just I see a lot of people like making videos on this, but just creative ways to use spells. My favorite one is the word spell command.
Yeah.
You can command a creature to do one action. It's one word.
Yeah.
As long as it's not directly harmful to them. You can get pretty creative with it.
Yeah. Or just be very, very carnal. Yeah. That would be that. I mean, just the social embarrassment out of that. I think you'd have to make a. I'm not sure what it would be. I don't know what the mechanics would be for having for being overtly embarrassed. But yeah,
my DM ruled it deals psychic damage depending on how bad it is.
That works.
So,
that makes sense. Completely.
And he also has had this funny moment where somebody, I think the intention was completely wrong because of how the player was saying it as a joke. He said "come" with command, and he was messing around. And he said it like a bit of an erotic way. He was like, "Is that the way your character said it?" He's like, "Yeah," and he just rolled something under the table. He's like, "Well, the NPC just said." I'm like, "Oh god." New spell created, guys.
Absolutely genius.
Great thing for you to get your players as well. No one expects that.
Yeah.
But
exactly.
one of the best things to pull out is the villain who's a spellcaster. Just the second they take any damage, they just curl up into a ball and just start crying. Oh my god, this is what I've been doing to people.
Yeah.
Oh, that hurts, man.
Yeah.
Oh, you do that? You've been doing that this entire time?
What have I been doing with my life? I need to reassess things.
Yeah.
Lovely. Fantastic. So we're going for over an hour now, and I need to have dinner at some point or other. So I think probably now is probably the perfect time to call it an evening. But thank you so much for hanging out, my friend. I really, really appreciate it. Guys, if you are in the chat, please do go and follow Demon Law's Dungeon. He's an absolutely brilliant creator for all your D&D and 40k and apparently loads of other different lore as well.
Yeah, trust me. You asked me about it, I can tell you about it. And thank you all for coming here. You've all been great. Also subscribe to Great Wolf if you're not, because I know at least half of you watching probably aren't, or most of you watching aren't, knowing my own analytics. So I'm looking at you, Goofy.
99% of people that watch my content don't follow me, but that's how it is. I think we're gonna have to, or just I don't know. We'll see how it slowly changes. But yes, thank you everybody for hanging out tonight. Really, really appreciate it. Thank you, Demon Lords again, and we will definitely do this sooner or later again soon. Have a lovely evening, everybody, and bye. See you later.
Is it still going? Do I click this? Please.